critic for All About Jazz writes that Gretchen Parlato is emerging as the most important jazz singer since Cassandra Wilson. NPR Music hails Parlato's newest CD, The Lost and Found, as one of the 25 best albums so far in 2011. John Mark Raffis speaks with Parlato about her distinctive vocal style and her collaborations for The Lost and Found. Parlato also talks about her mentors, including trumpeter Terence Blanchard, and her growing confidence as a songwriter and lyricist.
Your newest CD is The Lost and Found, and it is wonderful, like your previous CD, In a Dream.
Thank you.
This was your first effort as a producer.
I think the co-producer chair has been familiar to me. I had, another person working with me. The first CD for In a Dream, it was Kele Locatelli of Oblique Sound. We were kind of working together. But I think the difference about this one is that it was, I was producing with Robert Glasper, another musician, another artist. So I think there's a big difference when you have two artists working together as opposed to another kind of, let's call it, in quotes, like a producer. This was like two-minded artists trying to create music and have the same end goal, results of how we want the music to sound and to feel.
It's a very personal album. You have really made it to the next step as a songwriter and a lyricist. You wrote several of the compositions, and with some of them you wrote the lyrics, and then you also wrote lyrics for some other music by both musicians in the band as well as some of your mentors. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
I mean, I think that says a lot about the community of artists that we have now. So it was kind of easy for me to realize that, there's all these melodies, instrumental songs that I can write. Either I was asked to write lyrics for, or I had the idea of writing lyrics. And, then we kind of create another level and another layer of the music and of that piece when there's a difference of it being instrumental as opposed to having lyrics. So, for Taylor Ikeste's composition, Alan Hampton, Ambrose Akinmusiri, Dana Stevens, it was my pleasure to find lyrics that might help, take that piece of music to another place. And it's been great for me to also, by doing that, by first writing lyrics to other people's melodies, that allowed me to kind of push myself to write complete compositions, both the music and the lyrics all on my own. So I'm really grateful for that kind of support. It happens to be, some of my best friends.
Your music tends to be very, I don't know what the word is, ethereal, haunting. Your singing is very breathy. I think that it's an interesting sound, and you don't sound really like anyone else that comes to mind. Where does that sound come from? How did that come about that you arrived at that voice?
Yeah, it sounds really kind of spacey to say, but it's kind of like it found me. I realize that is my complete, natural, honest way of singing without trying to sound like anyone else, without being affected in any way. There's a natural air around my voice. It's not, I know people have said, oh, it's this whisper, it's this, whatever. And it's like, and to me, and I think there's a difference. You use the word breath, and I think there's a difference between having breath and air around a note, and that's a natural tone to either a vocalist or an instrumentalist. Or this whole whispering thing is kind of, I disagree with that word, because that's like an intentional lack of tone, and intentionally being quiet, even though you know that you have more to give. So to me, I'm giving everything I can. It's totally just me revealing and being, using the word a lot, being honest. And it's this I'm digging in deeper than it just being a whisper. So to me, there's air, there's breath, tone, there's placement, there's resonance. I think I'm quite fascinated by all of that.
Well, you, like other great jazz singers, don't so much sing with the band. You're actually essentially an instrument in the band. Your voice weaves in with the music and becomes part of it, as opposed to just being overlaid.
Cool. Well, thank you for hearing that. Yeah, I think that's always been really fun for me to do, and kind of again this like a fascination of like, wow, there's so much that we can do with our voice, as a text in the fabric of the whole ensemble, and not just one dimensional. So it's that becomes really really interesting to me, to kind of find new places to weave in and out of.
So I know that you made headlines when you became the first singer to be accepted into the Thelonious Monk Institute. Previously, it was all instrumentalists, right?
Yeah, they had it had just been an instrumental program. I don't know if they just excluded singers, they just didn't, ex- find any. I'm not sure, but in any case, they were looking for a singer to be part of the ensemble. So they opened that audition up to vocalists, and I, auditioned and thankfully made it in, and it was an amazing, very very transformative experience.
And it was through that program that you actually made some contacts, some of the mentors that have really influenced you.
Yeah, it was, the live audition was in front of Terence Blanchard, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock.
Nothing like the Pantheon.
Oh my God, I know. I mean, I always think of that moment of like, that's one of those moments that you can think, well, I got through that, I can do anything now. If I had to sing, 5 feet away from these guys, and you just kind of close your eyes and take a breath and just go, or maybe keep your eyes open. Hey, see their reaction. But I know in that moment, I just was all about the music, and it wasn't a big performance necessarily. It was just let's just really get in tune with the actual sound of the music.
You actually have one of Wayne Shorter's classics on your new album, Juju, that you wrote lyrics to.
Yeah.
That must be an incredible feeling to have in the liner notes your name right next to his for the same song.
Speaking of the Monk Institute, it was Terence Blanchard who, gave me the assignment of writing some lyrics to that melody, because Dana Stevens, who's on the album, actually, he was in the Monk Institute with me, and he wanted to play that song in our class as an ensemble. And then Terence thought, well, why don't you try to write lyrics? And so I was like, sure, pretended like it was an easy thing, no problem, and went home and, probably cried or something. and then what was great though is, I mean, Terence has always believed in me and given me, supported me and kind of pushed me to do more than I thought I could. And I know that at the very beginning, he saw more in me that I knew was there. And that's why I'm so grateful for people like him, because you need that kind of person, that kind of teacher and mentor in your life who's going to, keep you on track and see more in you that you see in yourself in that moment. So that was the first try, and that all those lyrics were based on, time that was spent with when Wayne Shorter came work with our class for a few days, and if those are things that he said, things that he didn't say, things he talked about, or just embodied. So those are all kind of a tribute to him.
You're going to be opening our season this fall at Schwab Auditorium, and when you do, you'll be performing on the same stage that Terence Blanchard most recently performed on last April. So
cool.
his spirit will still be floating about somewhere in the rafters.
I love that.
Tickets are on sale for Gretchen Parlato and her quartet in concert September 30th, 2011 at Penn State's Schwab Auditorium. Purchase tickets online at www.cpa.psu.edu or by phone at 1-800-ARTS-TIX.